Hi guys, welcome back. If you're new here, subscribe and drop a comment. Tonight's story is about a man who locked himself inside a tiny room behind store shelves, hoping a metal door and a little luck would be enough to keep him alive while the zombie outbreak spread outside. So, let's get started.
The glass at the front of the store breaks at 11:42 on a Tuesday night. I'm standing in the back, behind the pharmacy counter, sorting a tray of blood pressure refills into the Tuesday bin, and the crash is so loud, it sounds like a car came through the entrance. I set the tray down and take 3 steps toward the consultation window, and that's when I hear the screaming. Not one voice. 5, 6, more. High-pitched, frantic, overlapping. And under all of it, a wet sound I've never heard before in my life. A heavy, slapping noise, repeated over and over. I stop walking. I don't go any closer to the front. Through the one-way glass of the drive-through partition, I can see the fluorescent lights over aisle 9 flickering. Someone runs past the end cap display and knocks a full rack of cough syrup off the shelf. Then a woman in a green coat falls into view. She hits the tile face first, and something lands on top of her. It used to be a man. The clothes are torn down the front, and the skin underneath is grey and loose. His mouth opens wider than any mouth should, and he bites down on the back of her neck. She stops screaming. Just stops. The thing on top of her keeps going. I back up. My heel catches the edge of the pharmacy step, and I sit down hard on the raised platform. I stay there for 3 seconds, staring through the glass, watching the woman in the green coat twitch once and go limp. Something moves in aisle 6. More glass breaks near the entrance. There's a sound that could be a gunshot, but it's muffled, and I can't be sure. I have maybe 90 seconds before whatever is happening at the front of this store works its way to the back. I know this building. I've worked here 5 nights a week for 3 years. I know every door, every shelf bracket, every crawl space. And there is one place in this entire pharmacy that locks from the inside and has no external access. The narcotics overflow closet. It's behind the west wall of the pharmacy, accessible through a hinged panel built into the shelving unit. The panel is painted to match the wall and held shut by a magnetic catch. Behind it is a concrete room about 6 feet wide and 9 feet deep, poured when the building was a medical storage facility in the 1980s. When this became a retail pharmacy, the DEA required a secondary locked storage area for Schedule II overstock. We stopped using it 2 years ago when the chain switched to a just-in-time delivery model. Now it holds empty plastic tubs, a folding chair, and dust. I get off the floor. I can hear the slapping sounds getting closer. Someone screams from the direction of the break room. I don't look. I grab the tray of blood pressure pills, a blister pack of ibuprofen, the first aid kit from under the counter, and the emergency oxygen tank from the bracket on the wall. It's a small portable unit, the kind we keep for anaphylaxis events. I shove all of it through the hinged panel, climb through after it, and pull the panel shut behind me. The magnetic catch clicks. The shelving unit rocks slightly and then settles. On the other side of the panel, I hear footsteps in the pharmacy. Fast, shuffling, wrong. Something bumps the counter, and a jar of tongue depressors falls and shatters. I'm sitting on the concrete floor with my knees against the opposite wall, and I don't move. I don't make a sound. 11:44, 2 minutes since the glass broke. I'm sealed inside a concrete box behind a pharmacy wall, in the dark, with a folding chair, a first aid kit, a tray of lisinopril, and a portable oxygen tank that has maybe 4 hours of supply. And I have no idea what just happened out there. I sit in the dark for a long time. The phone in my pocket has 61% battery. I turn the brightness all the way down and check the time every few minutes. Outside the panel, the sounds change. The screaming fades. The crashing stops. What replaces it is worse. Shuffling, dragging, a low, continuous moan that doesn't come from one direction. It comes from everywhere. At 12:15, I try calling 911. The line connects, but nobody picks up. I let it ring for 2 minutes, then hang up and try again. Same thing. On the third try, I get a recorded message. All circuits are busy. Please try your call again later. I try my mother in Dayton. Straight to voicemail. My landlord. Voicemail. The store manager, Pauline. Her phone rings 6 times and goes to a generic inbox. I text Pauline. Something happened at the store. People are hurt. I'm locked in the overflow closet. Call me. I send the same message to my mother and to my friend Garrett, who lives 2 blocks from the pharmacy. Then I turn the phone off to save power. The moaning outside doesn't stop. It's a sound I can't place against anything I've ever heard. Low, toneless, constant. Not pain, not anger, just noise, like a motor running in a throat that doesn't need air the same way it used to. Sometimes it's close, sometimes it drifts toward the front of the store, but it never fully goes away. I unfold the chair and sit down. The concrete walls are cold. The ceiling is standard drop tile, the same grid that runs through the whole building. There's no vent in this room, but air leaks in through the gap around the hinged panel and through a half-inch crack where the ceiling grid meets the back wall. I can breathe. For now, I take inventory. First aid kit, gauze rolls, adhesive bandages, antiseptic wipes, a pair of blunt scissors, medical tape, 2 instant cold packs, oxygen tank, small, rated for 4 hours at 2 liters per minute. The tray of lisinopril is useless for anything except trading, if it ever comes to that. The ibuprofen might matter if I get hurt. My phone. My wallet with $11 and a debit card. My car keys, which are worthless because my car is parked in the lot, and the lot is out front, past the broken glass, past whatever those things are. I don't have water. I don't have food. I don't have a weapon. The concrete floor is cold under my legs. I shift position every few minutes because my knees lock up. The folding chair creaks every time I move, and each creak sends a jolt through me. I keep my hand near the panel latch. If something pushes through, the only direction I can go is up through the ceiling tiles, into the grid above. I don't know if the brackets can hold me. I don't know where they lead. But it's the only other way out of this box. Sometime after midnight, I hear a new sound. Not the moaning, something heavier, a body being dragged across the tile. I press my ear flat against the panel and hold still. The dragging moves from right to left, from the direction of the pharmacy counter toward the back hallway. It stops. Then it starts again, farther away. I don't know what's being dragged. I don't want to know. At 1:30 in the morning, the moaning outside stops for about 10 minutes. I press my ear against the panel and listen. Nothing. Then a crash at the front of the store, and it starts again. During that 10-minute gap, I hear something else. Sirens. Far away, overlapping, constant. Not 1 or 2, dozens. From every direction. I fall asleep sitting in the chair with my arms crossed and my chin on my chest. When I wake up, my neck is locked sideways and my right foot is numb. The phone says 6:14 in the morning. I have 53% battery. I have 3 texts. One from Garrett. Dude, what are you talking about? What happened? Sent at 12:41. Nothing after that. One from my mother. Peter, call me when you can. News is saying something about a quarantine. Are you safe? Sent at 2:18. And one from a number I don't recognize. This is an emergency alert from Franklin County Emergency Management. Shelter in place. Do not travel. Await further instructions. Sent at 4:05. I text Garrett back. I'm inside the pharmacy, locked in a back room. Don't come here. I text my mother. I'm safe, locked in at work. Don't go outside. I love you. I turn the phone off again. The sounds outside the panel have changed. The moaning is still there, but it's quieter now. Farther away, maybe near the front of the store, I press my ear to the panel. I can hear a slow, uneven shuffle on the tile. One set of footsteps, then nothing for a while, then another shuffle, going the other direction. I need water. The staff break room is about 40 feet from the pharmacy. through a short hallway past the immunization clinic. There's a mini fridge in there with bottled water and leftover lunches. There's also a vending machine with granola bars and chips. I have the break room key on my key ring. But between here and there is the entire back section of the store, which is open to the sales floor. I wait. I listen. At 7:20, I hear the automatic front doors cycle. They're on a timer. The motor hums, the doors slide open, and a gust of outside air pushes through the store. The moaning changes direction. I hear shuffling toward the entrance. Then the doors close again on their timer, and the store goes quiet. I make a decision. I push the panel open 1 inch and look through the gap. The pharmacy is empty. The counter is smeared with something dark. A jar of cotton balls has been knocked to the floor, and the cotton is scattered across the tile in red-brown footprints. I open the panel wider, climb through, and lower myself to the pharmacy floor. I stay crouched behind the counter. The store stretches out ahead of me. From here I can see down aisle 8 and part of aisle 7. No movement. I can see the ceiling lights are still on. The front of the store is bright. I can't see the entrance from this angle, but I can see a dark shape on the floor near the end of aisle 4. It isn't moving. I move fast, down the back hallway, past the immunization clinic door, to the break room. I use my key. The door opens. Inside, everything looks normal. Pauline's coffee mug is on the counter. The schedule board on the wall still says this week's shifts. The mini fridge hums. I open it. 6 bottles of water, a Tupperware container with someone's pasta, a can of ginger ale, an apple with a sticky note on it that says, "Reggie's do not touch." I take all of it. I stuff the water bottles into a plastic shopping bag from the shelf above the microwave. I grab 2 granola bars from the vending machine tray. The machine's glass front is already cracked and hanging open, so I just reach in. I take 4 bags of peanuts, a pack of cheese crackers, and a candy bar. On the way back, I stop at the immunization clinic door. It's locked. I try my pharmacy key. It doesn't fit. But there's a gap under the door, and I can see light inside. The clinic has its own small fridge for vaccines, and more importantly, it has a rear service corridor that leads to the back parking lot. I've seen the maintenance crew use it. I file that away and keep moving. I'm back inside the crawl space in under 4 minutes. I pull the panel shut and sit down. My hands are shaking. I drink half a bottle of water in one long pull. Then I force myself to stop and cap it. I don't know how long I'm going to be here. I spend the afternoon learning the rhythms of the store. I sit with my ear against the panel and I listen. The things out there, I still don't know what to call them. They move in patterns, not organized patterns, loose ones. They drift toward sound. When the automatic doors cycle, they shuffle toward the front. When the HVAC kicks on, they drift toward the back corner near the loading dock. When there's no stimulus at all, they just stand in place and moan. They don't try doors. They don't open cabinets. They bump into shelves and keep walking. One of them walks into the end cap at the top of aisle 3, at least 6 times during the afternoon. Each time, it hits the shelving, pauses, turns slightly, and walks again until it hits something else. There's no problem solving. There's no frustration. There's just movement and noise. I count footsteps. I think there are between 4 and 7 of them in the store. It's hard to tell because they don't all move at the same time, and they don't make consistent sounds. Some drag their feet. Some walk almost normally except for a slight hitch. One makes a clicking sound with every step, and I think it's a broken bone in the ankle. At 3 in the afternoon, I hear voices outside. Real voices. Human. 2 men, maybe 3, talking fast and low. They're at the front of the store. I hear one of them say, "Grab the registers and let's go." Another one says something I can't make out. Then the doors cycle, and they're inside. The moaning picks up. The shuffling gets faster. I hear a thud, then a wet crack. Then one of the men shouts a word. I can't repeat. Something heavy falls. Another crack. The men are hitting the infected with something solid. I hear shelving collapse. Glass breaks. One of the men laughs. Not a happy laugh. A scared, frantic laugh. They're in the store for about 12 minutes. I hear the cash registers get pried open. One of them smashes the glass case at the front where the cigarettes are stored. They argue about whether to take the liquor display or just the cigarettes. One of them starts laughing about something, and the other tells him to shut up. They don't come to the pharmacy. They don't even try. Whatever they came for, it isn't prescription medication. Not yet. At 3:14, they leave. The doors cycle. The voices fade. The moaning drops back down. Something falls in aisle 2 with a slow, rolling clatter. Then quiet. I sit in the crawl space and process what I just heard. 3 men, armed with blunt objects, moving through a store full of infected people and treating it like a shopping trip. They weren't scared. They were annoyed. Whatever fear people had on day 1 is already wearing off for some of them. The infected are slow, predictable, and avoidable as long as you pay attention. The real danger isn't the things in the aisles. The real danger is the people who've figured that out and decided to take advantage of it. I eat half the pasta from the Tupperware container. It's cold penne with red sauce, and it tastes like the best meal I've ever had. I save the rest. I drink a quarter of my second water bottle. I have 5.5 bottles left, plus the ginger ale. I have maybe 3 days of water if I'm careful, less if it gets hot in here. At 9:40 that night, somebody drives a car into the parking lot. I can hear the engine, then the brakes, then a door slamming, footsteps on concrete, then a voice, clear and loud and desperate. "This is Officer Beckham, Columbus PD. If anyone is inside, I need medical assistance." He's at the front of the store. I can hear him breathing hard. His voice is tight. Something is wrong with him. He calls out again, and this time his voice cracks. "I've been bitten. I need bandages. Disinfectant. Something." I don't move. I press my ear against the panel and listen. He comes inside. The doors cycle and he stumbles through. I hear him knock into a display. He swears under his breath. Then the moaning starts up. Not from him, from the things in the aisles. He fires his weapon. The sound inside the store is enormous. It bounces off the ceiling tiles and the concrete floor and hits every surface at once. He fires 3 more times. Each shot is followed by a heavy impact, a body falling. He fires twice more. Then I hear him stagger toward the checkout lanes and sit down hard on the floor. "Anyone, if anyone's here." I'm at the front registers. I sit in the crawl space and I don't answer. I know where the first aid kit is. I have antiseptic wipes and gauze. I have medical tape. I'm a pharmacist. I know wound care. I know what a bite wound needs. But I also saw what happened to the woman in the green coat 12 hours ago. She was bitten. She stopped moving. And then, about 20 minutes later, something that used to be her stood up in aisle 9 and started walking. I don't go to Officer Beckham. I stay behind the panel, in the dark, and I listen to him die. It takes hours. He talks to himself for a while. He tries his radio. Static. He tries his phone. No signal. He calls out twice more for help, weaker each time. He talks to someone named Donna and tells her he's sorry, and I think he's talking to a voicemail that isn't recording. He tells Donna that the station was overrun and that Sergeant Poole didn't make it out. He says something about the east side being completely gone. He says he tried to drive to the hospital, but the roads were blocked with abandoned cars and those things were everywhere. At some point he stops talking and just breathes. The breathing gets slower, rougher, wetter. I hear him cough once, hard, and something liquid hits the tile. The fluorescent light above the checkout lanes buzzes. The automatic doors cycle once. Nothing else moves. At 2 in the morning, he stops breathing. I sit in the dark and I wait. I check the time on my phone. 2:11, 2:18, 2:23. At 2:31, I hear movement from the checkout area. A shuffle, a low moan, then footsteps, uneven, dragging. Officer Beckham is walking, and I know now, with certainty, what these things are. I don't have a name for them. Nobody told me. No broadcast explained it. But I watched a woman get bitten, go down, and get back up, and now I've listened to it happen again. Whatever this infection is, It doesn't just hurt people, it turns them. Dead doesn't mean gone anymore, dead means something else. Morning, day 2. I've been in this crawl space for about 30 hours. I have 4.5 water bottles, half a container of pasta, some vending machine snacks, and an oxygen tank I haven't needed to use because the air circulation through the panel gap and the ceiling crack is enough to keep the room breathable. But the room smells. My clothes smell. I haven't used a bathroom since before the outbreak. I've been using an empty plastic tub in the corner with a trash bag liner, and I need to deal with that soon. I check my phone. 12% battery. 3 new emergency alerts, all variations of the same message. Shelter in place. Do not travel. Avoid contact with infected individuals. The word infected stands out. That's the first time I've seen anyone use that word officially. No texts from Garrett, no texts from my mother. The phone is almost useless now. I turn it off for the last time and set it in my pocket. From this point forward, I have no outside information. I don't know what's happening beyond this building. I don't know if anyone is coming. I don't know if there's anyone left to come. I need to get more supplies, and I need to do it smarter this time. Yesterday I just grabbed what I could and ran. Today I need a plan. I need to map the threats and figure out a way to move through the store without making noise. I push the panel open 1 inch. I listen, shuffling near aisle 5. The moan is constant, but distant. I count. I hear 3 distinct sets of footsteps, plus the one that clicks. That's 4 in the store, plus whatever Beckham became, so maybe 5. Yesterday I think the looters took out 2 or 3. So the count went down, then Beckham brought it back up. I need to go to the pharmacy shelves, not the counter, the shelves behind it, where the stock is. I need antibiotics, painkillers, alcohol, bandages, and anything I can use as a tool. The pharmacy is only 10 feet from the panel. I can reach it without crossing any open aisle. I wait until the HVAC kicks on. The fan noise covers small sounds. I push the panel open, slide through, and crouch behind the counter. The pharmacy shelves are right there. I start pulling things. Amoxicillin, azithromycin, ciprofloxacin. I take full bottles of each. I grab a box of nitrile gloves, a roll of medical tape, 3 bottles of isopropyl alcohol, and a box of 4x4 gauze pads. From the compounding area, I take 2 scalpels in sterile packaging, a box of 20-gauge syringes, and a bottle of sterile saline. I take a pen light from the drawer where we keep diagnostic tools. I take the hand crank flashlight from the emergency kit on the wall. I load everything into a cardboard box and push it through the panel. I go back for more. This time I check the consultation window. From here I can see down the main aisle, all the way to the entrance. 2 figures are standing near the greeting card display. One is the grey man from last night, the one I saw through the glass. The other is shorter, female, wearing a store employee vest. Her name tag is hanging sideways, and I can almost read it. They're not moving, just standing, facing the cards, swaying slightly. The woman's left arm hangs at an angle that tells me the shoulder is dislocated, or worse. She doesn't react to it. No pain response. No attempt to support the arm. It just hangs. Behind them, past the broken glass of the entrance, I can see the parking lot. 2 cars. One of them has the driver's side door open. The other has a smashed windshield. Beyond the lot, the road is empty. No traffic, no emergency vehicles, no movement at all. I go back to the pharmacy shelves. This time I take a tourniquet kit, a blood pressure cuff, a stethoscope, and a box of alcohol prep pads. I also take the staff phone charger from behind the register. It's a generic USB cable, and the outlet in the crawl space still has power. If the building still has electricity, I can keep my phone alive. On my 3rd trip, I get bold. I move past the pharmacy and down the short hallway to the staff bathroom. I fill the mop bucket with water and carry it back. It's heavy, and I have to go slow, and the water sloshes against the sides. Every splash sounds enormous, but nothing comes. I make it back, push the bucket through the panel, and seal myself in. I now have about 8 gallons of water, some in bottles, some in the bucket. I have food for maybe 2 more days. I have medical supplies. I have light. I plug in my phone and turn it on. No new messages. The time is 9:47 in the morning. I spend the rest of day 2 learning. I use the pen light to examine the crawlspace walls and ceiling. The ceiling grid is the same standard 2x4 drop tile used throughout the store. I push one tile up and look into the space above. It's about 18 inches of clearance between the tile grid and the structural ceiling. Electrical conduit, HVAC ductwork, fire suppression pipes, and I can see the tops of the shelving units in the pharmacy through the gap. I can also see something else. The pegboard backing on the pharmacy shelves has holes. Hundreds of small, round holes, evenly spaced. If I position myself right and look through the ceiling space, I can see down through those holes into the store. Not much. Slivers, fragments, but enough to track movement. I spend an hour looking through pegboard holes from above, mapping the store. The infected tend to cluster near the front. The back section stockroom, break room, loading dock is mostly clear during the day. They seem to drift toward light. The fluorescent tubes at the front of the store are brighter than the ones in back, and that's where they congregate. At noon, I notice something. The store's PA system is still active. The little speaker in the pharmacy ceiling has a green LED on. The PA control box is mounted on the wall behind the pharmacy register. It has a microphone input and a zone selector. I can broadcast sound to any section of the store from that box. I file that away, not ready to use it yet. But the idea sits in my head and grows. I eat the apple that said Reggie's on the sticky note. I save the peanuts and crackers. I drink water from the bucket using a paper cup I found in the break room. The water tastes like plastic and mop soap, but it's clean enough. The rest of the afternoon is quiet. The infected shuffle, the HVAC cycles, the automatic doors open and close on their timer. I use the hand crank flashlight to see inside the crawl space and organize my supplies. I arrange the medications on the folding chair, antibiotics on the left, painkillers in the middle, topical treatments on the right. The scalpels go in my back pocket. The syringes go in the first aid kit. I'm building a pharmacy inside a pharmacy. Day 3 starts with a bang, a real one. Something hits the front of the building hard enough to shake the ceiling tiles. I sit up from the floor where I've been sleeping on a flattened cardboard box and grab the pen light. Dust is falling from the ceiling grid. The lights flicker once, twice, then hold. I push the panel open an inch and listen. Voices outside. A vehicle engine, loud, diesel. Men shouting. The front doors cycle and multiple footsteps come in. These aren't shuffling, these are boots. Check the pharmacy, someone yells. The voice is deep, commanding. Get the painkillers, the cough stuff, anything we can trade. I pull the panel shut and press my back against the far wall. Footsteps in the pharmacy. Someone is on the other side of the shelving unit, maybe 3 feet from me. I hear bottles being swept off shelves into a bag, plastic clattering against plastic. Most of the good stuff is behind the counter in the safe, a second voice says. Younger, nasal, then open the safe. It's a time lock, Garth. You can't just, then rip it off the wall. I hear them try. The safe is bolted to the floor and the wall with lag screws. It's a 500-pound steel box rated for pharmacy-grade narcotics. They bang on it for 5 minutes. Someone kicks it. Someone else hits it with what sounds like a crowbar. The lag screws hold. Garth swears. Fine. Take what's on the shelves. All of it. The antibiotics. The allergy stuff. Whatever. If it has a label, it's worth something. They spend 20 minutes cleaning out the open pharmacy shelves. I can hear them working through the pegboard. They take everything I didn't grab yesterday. Bottles hit the inside of bags. Labels get read out loud. Metformin. That's diabetes, right? Take it. Take it all. People will trade for anything that keeps them alive. Then one of them walks along the shelving unit, tapping the side panels with his knuckles. Testing. Checking for hollow spots. He's 3 feet from the panel. 2 feet. His knuckles hit the shelving directly above my head. I can feel the vibration through the wall. He taps once more. Then he stops and moves on. The panel held. The magnetic catch held. The painted surface blended with the rest of the wall. He didn't find me. Then they move to the front of the store and I hear them loading boxes. The diesel engine revs. They leave. The doors cycle shut. I sit in the dark and breathe. That was close. If they'd found the panel, if they'd looked closely at the shelving unit, if they'd tapped the wall and heard the hollow space behind it, I'd be dead, or worse. But something Garth said stays with me. The painkillers, the cough stuff, anything we can trade. He's not just looting, he's building a supply chain. And that safe full of narcotics is a prize he's going to come back for. I know that. People like Garth don't leave prizes behind. They get tools, they get manpower, and they come back. I have to be ready for that. Or I have to be gone before it happens. I spend the afternoon working. I'm done being passive. I'm done sitting in this box and waiting. First, the mirrors. The break room has a small wall mirror above the sink. I wrap my hand in a towel, pop it off the wall, and carry it back. Then I go to the beauty aisle, aisle 12, and grab 3 compact mirrors, 2 travel mirrors with stands, and a makeup mirror with a magnifying side. I bring them all back to the crawl space. I climb into the ceiling space and start positioning mirrors along the grid. The idea is simple. I mount a mirror above a pegboard hole, angled so I can see the aisle below from a different position. Then I place another mirror farther along, angled to reflect the first. It's crude. The images are small and distorted. But after 2 hours of adjusting, I have a sight line from inside the crawl space, through the ceiling space, through 2 mirrors, and down through a pegboard hole that gives me a view of the front door. I set up 3 more angles. One covers the pharmacy counter, one covers the hallway to the break room, one covers the loading dock door at the back of the store. I can't see everything, but I can see the 4 areas that matter most. Next, the PA system. I wait for the HVAC to cycle on, then slip out to the pharmacy counter. The PA control box has 5 zone buttons: front, aisles, pharmacy, stockroom, and all. I test the microphone by tapping it gently with my fingernail. In the front of the store, the ceiling speaker crackles. 2 infected heads turn toward the sound. They start shuffling toward the pharmacy. I duck behind the counter and wait. They reach the pharmacy area, bump into the counter, stand there moaning for about 3 minutes, and then drift away when the sound doesn't repeat. I note the response time. 12 seconds from tap to movement. About 90 seconds to reach the pharmacy from the front of the store. 3 minutes of attention before they lose interest and wander off. I can use this. I can use the speakers to pull the infected to one side of the store while I move through the other side. It's a sound lure. And I have the control box right here behind the counter. I unscrew the PA control box from the wall and run the cable through a gap in the shelving unit, through the pegboard, and into the crawl space. I don't disconnect it from the speaker system. I just extend the control so I can operate it from behind the panel. Now I can broadcast sound to any zone in the store without leaving my room. That's when I start feeling something I haven't felt in 3 days. Not safe, not confident, but capable. I can see. I can make noise where I want it. I have supplies, I have medical knowledge, and I have a concrete room with a locking door. I'm not trapped in this box. I'm operating from it. On day 4, I learned to use the ceiling. The drop tile grid runs the entire length of the building. The tiles are light. I can push them up, crawl on the support brackets, and move above the store without touching the floor. It's loud. The brackets creak, and every time I shift my weight, the tiles around me rattle. But if I use the PA system to draw the infected to the front while I crawl above the back section, I can reach the stockroom, the break room, and even the immunization clinic without being seen. My first ceiling run takes 20 minutes. I broadcast a low static hiss from the PA front zone speaker, wait for the shuffling to move toward the entrance, then push up the ceiling tile above the pharmacy and climb onto the bracket. The brackets are aluminum T-bars, about 1.5 inches wide. They hold my weight, but barely. I have to spread out and move on my hands and knees. keeping my weight distributed across at least 3 bars at a time. I crawl 30 feet to the stockroom. Below me, through the gaps in the tile grid, I can see the floor. Empty. The infected are all up front, confused by the static hiss coming from the speaker. I push down a tile above the stockroom and lower myself to the shelving unit below, then step down to the floor. The stockroom is a gold mine. Cases of bottled water, boxes of seasonal candy, overstock from Valentine's Day, canned soup that was supposed to go on an end cap, paper towels, trash bags, and on the maintenance shelf, duct tape, zip ties, a pry bar, a box cutter, 2 cans of WD-40, a roll of copper wire, and 3 cans of compressed air for cleaning keyboards. I spend 10 minutes loading a plastic tote with everything I can carry. I drag it to the shelf below the ceiling gap, climb back up, and pull the tote up after me. It's heavy and awkward, and one of the ceiling tiles cracks under the edge of the tote. The crack is loud. I freeze. Below me, I hear a moan. Close. I look down through the cracked tile. One of the infected is standing directly below me in the stockroom doorway. It's looking up. Not at me, it can't see me through the tile, but at the ceiling. Its head is tilted back, and its mouth is open. Grey skin, clouded eyes. A dark stain down the front of what used to be a polo shirt with a store logo on the chest. This was an employee, someone I might have known. I don't move. I don't breathe through my mouth. The PA static is still hissing from the front speakers, but this one didn't follow the sound. It must have been in the stockroom already. In a corner I didn't check. It stands there for 90 seconds. Then it turns, slow and mechanical, and shuffles out through the stockroom door toward the back hallway. I wait another 2 minutes, then crawl back to the pharmacy with the tote. By the end of day 4, I have enough water and food for at least 10 days. I have tools. I have the PA system wired into my crawl space. I have mirror sightlines covering 4 zones. And I've confirmed that the ceiling is a viable travel route as long as I'm slow, careful, and use the sound lures to clear the path. On the morning of day 5, I'm checking my mirrors when I see movement at the back of the store. Not the shuffling kind, fast movement. 2 figures come through the loading dock door, which has been propped open since day 1 by a hand truck wedged in the gap. They're running. One is a woman, maybe mid-20s, holding her stomach with both arms. The other is a teenage boy carrying a baseball bat. They slam through the stockroom and into the back hallway. The boy drops the bat, and it clatters on the tile. The moaning in the store picks up immediately. Every infected in the building turns toward the sound. "Shut up," the woman hisses. "Pick it up. Don't drop it." "I'm trying, Joe." The boy grabs the bat. He's shaking. They duck into the break room. The door closes. From my mirror angle, I can see the break room hallway, and I can see 2 infected heading in that direction from aisle 7. The break room door is thin. It's hollow core interior. If those things lean on it hard enough, it'll give. I watch through the mirrors. The infected reach the hallway and stop. They tilt their heads. They can hear the voices behind the door. One of them presses against it. The door creaks. Inside the break room, the woman says, "Be quiet, both of us. Don't move." The infected pushes again. The door bows inward. The lock is a standard interior knob lock, the kind you can open with a coin. It won't hold. I look at the PA control box in my crawl space. I look at the zone buttons. I press front and tap the microphone against the edge of the folding chair. 3 quick taps. In the front of the store, the speaker cracks 3 times. The 2 infected in the hallway stop pushing on the break room door. They turn. They shuffle toward the front. I tap 3 more times, keeping the rhythm going. The shuffling accelerates. I can hear all of them now, 4 or 5 sets of feet, heading for the front speaker. The break room hallway goes quiet. I wait 1 minute. Then I push the panel open, slide out, cross the pharmacy, and walk down the hallway to the break room door. I knock twice, low and quick. Silence. I knock again. "I'm a pharmacist. I work here. If you open this door right now, I can get you somewhere safer." The door opens. The woman looks at me. She has brown hair tied back. dirt on her face, and she's holding her stomach in a way that I recognize. I've filled enough prenatal vitamin prescriptions to know. "I'm Jolene," she says. "This is my brother Wes. How long have you been here?" "Since the first night." "Is there anywhere in this building that's actually secure?" "Yeah. Follow me." The crawl space is crowded with 3 people. Jolene sits on the folding chair. Wes sits on the floor with his back against the wall and the baseball bat across his knees. I stand near the panel, keeping one ear on the store. Jolene is 26, 6 months pregnant, and has been walking for 2 days. She and Wes were at their apartment in Whitehall when the outbreak started. Their building was overrun within hours. They made it to a church that was serving as a shelter, but the church fell on the second night when someone who'd been bitten didn't tell anyone and turned inside the building. He was sitting in the back pew. Wes says, the first full sentence he's volunteered. An older guy, heavy coat. He had a bandage on his forearm and told people it was a dog bite. Nobody checked. By 3 in the morning he was on the floor, and by 3:15 he was on his feet again, and he wasn't the same person. Jolene picks up the thread. 40 people in that church. By the time we got out the side door, there were maybe 12 left standing. Some ran, some froze. The ones who froze didn't make it. After that, we just walked, Jolene says. East on Broad, then north on Hamilton. Most of the houses were dark. A few had people on their porches with rifles, waving us away. We slept in a garden shed the first night. Found a gas station with the doors ripped off, grabbed some water and a box of crackers. We saw the pharmacy sign from the road, figured there might be medicine. Wes is 16. He plays on a high school baseball team, or played, and the bat is his own. He carried it from the apartment. He doesn't talk about what he did with it between the church and here, but his grip on the handle is practiced and sure. Every time there's a sound from the store, his eyes snap to the panel and his hands tighten. How many are in there? He asks. 5, maybe 6. They're slow. They follow sound. They can't open doors that are actually locked, but they don't stop. They don't get tired. And if they bite you, we know, Jolene says. 3 people in a 6x9 room changes everything. The air gets stale faster. The noise discipline is harder. Wes falls asleep at odd hours, and his breathing gets heavy enough to hear through the panel. Jolene has to use the makeshift bathroom setup, and there's no privacy and no way to make it comfortable. I ration the water differently. 3 people means I'm down from 10 days of supply to maybe 4. But there are advantages too. 3 people means someone is always awake, always watching the mirrors, always listening. Wes takes the overnight shift without being asked. He sits with the bat and stares at the panel, and he doesn't flinch. Jolene organizes the medical supplies better than I did, grouping them by use instead of type. She finds an expired EpiPen I missed and sets it aside. She reads the label on every pill bottle and memorizes what each one does. I show them the mirror system. I show them the PA control box. I show them the ceiling route. Jolene watches everything carefully, asking questions. How long does the sound lure work? How far can I travel in the ceiling? What happens if the power goes out? I've been thinking about that, I say. The store has a backup generator for the pharmacy refrigeration. It'll keep the lights on for about 72 hours if the grid fails. After that, we lose the PA system, the automatic doors, and the lights. And the mirrors don't work without light, Jolene says. Right. Wes looks at his sister. So we need to leave before the power goes. We need to leave before a lot of things, I say. There was a group here on day 3, armed. They wanted the narcotics safe. They couldn't get it open, but they'll be back. And when they come back, they'll have more tools and more people. Jolene looks at the panel. So what's the plan? I don't have one yet, but I know the pieces. I know the sound system. I know the ceiling routes. I know the store layout. And now I know about the immunization clinic's rear service corridor, which leads to the back parking lot. That's our exit. The clinic door is locked, and my pharmacy key doesn't work on it, but a door is just wood and metal. We can get through it. Give me 1 day, I say. I need to scout the exit route and figure out how to clear the path. Day 6. I'm up at first light, checking mirrors. The store has settled into its pattern. Infected near the front, clear in the back, aimless shuffling all day. I count 5. Beckham is one of them. I can tell by the dark blue uniform and the duty belt that's still hanging off his hips. I brief Jolene and Wes. Here's what I need to do today. Scout the immunization clinic, find the service corridor, confirm it leads outside, and figure out how to get the clinic door open without making enough noise to bring every infected in the building down the hallway. Wes volunteers to work the PA system while I'm in the ceiling. I'll keep them busy at the front, he says. Just tell me when. I hand him the microphone. Tap it against the chair. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Keep the rhythm going. When I tell you to stop, stop. He nods. He's steady. Whatever happened at the church sharpened him. I push up the ceiling tile, climb onto the brackets, and start crawling. Wes begins tapping. Through the gaps in the tiles, I see the infected turn and shuffle toward the front. The back of the store clears. I crawl 50 feet to the immunization clinic. The clinic is a small room, about 15 by 20 feet, with a partition wall, 2 chairs, a desk, and a vaccine refrigerator. The door from the hallway is locked, but looking down through the ceiling, I can see that it's a standard commercial lock set, not a deadbolt. I can probably force it with the pry bar. The desk has a clipboard with vaccination consent forms and a cup of pens. A poster on the wall shows the recommended immunization schedule for adults. There's a box of latex gloves on the counter and a sharps disposal container that's about half full. Normal clinic. Normal day, frozen in place. Someone was probably sitting at that desk when the first scream came through the store. But what matters is the other door. On the far wall of the clinic, there's a grey steel door with a push bar. Above it, a small sign reads, "Service corridor authorized personnel only." I can see through the gap at the bottom that there's a short hallway on the other side, about 15 feet long, with bare concrete walls and a single overhead light. At the end of it, a heavy exterior door with a panic bar, and through the narrow window in that door, a rectangle of daylight. That's the outside. That's the exit. I crawl back and tell Jolene. 1 locked door between us and out, I say. The pry bar should handle it, but the noise will carry. We need every single infected at the front of the store when we do this. What about after? Jolene asks. We get outside. Then what? Where do we go? I've been thinking about this. There's an elementary school 3 blocks north. Brick building, few windows, interior hallways. It's built like a bunker. If it's clear, we shelter there and figure out the next move. Jolene looks at Wes. He nods. She looks at me. When? Tomorrow morning. First light. The infected are most sluggish at dawn. I've been watching them for 6 days. They move less when it's cold. And mornings are cold. We use the PA system to lock them at the front, force the clinic door, go through the service corridor, and we're out. What about the narcotics? Jolene asks. I look at her. You said the scavenger crew is coming back for them. If we leave and the safe is still here, they'll use this place as a base. Anyone else who finds this pharmacy is going to walk into them. She's right. I've been thinking about it, but I didn't want to say it out loud. If we leave the narcotics, this building becomes a magnet. Every desperate, armed, dangerous person in the area will end up here. And anyone who wanders in looking for medicine like Jolene and Wes did will walk into a trap instead of a pharmacy. I'll deal with it, I say, after you two are out. That night, while Jolene sleeps in the folding chair and Wes keeps watch on the mirrors, I go back into the store through the ceiling. I have the pry bar, the box cutter, and a plan. The immunization clinic door takes 6 minutes to force. I wedge the pry bar between the door and the frame and lean into it. The frame cracks. The lock pops. I catch the door before it swings open and ease it shut again. Now it doesn't latch, but from the hallway it looks closed. Tomorrow, 1 push, and it opens. While I'm in the clinic, I check the vaccine fridge. Most of the vaccines are useless to me, but there are 4 bags of saline, a bottle of prenatal vitamins, and a package of sterile wound dressings. I take all of it. The prenatal vitamins go in my pocket for Jolene. On the way back, I stop at the camping and outdoor section, aisle 15. There's not much left. The looters on day 3 hit this area hard, but on the bottom shelf, I find 3 things: a flare lighter in a plastic case, 2 emergency road flares, and an aerosol can of wasp spray with a 20-foot stream range. I also find something I wasn't looking for. On the end cap of aisle 14, there's a display of portable propane canisters for camping stoves, 6 of them, lined up neatly, untouched. And on the shelf below, 2 cans of spray-on cooking fuel. And on the shelf below that, a 12-pack of disposable lighters. I look at the propane canisters. I look at the aerosol cans. I look at the lighters, and a plan starts to form that has nothing to do with running. I carry everything back to the crawl space in 2 trips. On the second trip, I also grab a roll of duct tape from the stockroom and a coil of nylon cord from the hardware end cap. I crawl back through the ceiling, drop down into the crawl space, and seal the panel. Wes looks at the pile of supplies on the floor. "What is all that for?" "Insurance," I say. "They come at midday. I'm checking mirrors when I see the diesel truck pull into the lot. Same truck as day 3, same loud engine, but this time, there are more people. I count through the mirror angles. 6, maybe 7. The driver stays in the cab. Garth's voice carries through the broken front entrance. "Same plan. Pharmacy safe. Dex, bring the saw. Reggie, watch the door." My stomach drops. They have a saw. They're going to cut through the safe bolts, and when they open it, they'll find it full of oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl patches, and enough controlled substances to run a black market for months. And they'll set up camp. And this building stops being a pharmacy and becomes a fortress for people who hurt other people for supplies. I look at Jolene. She's already standing, one hand on her stomach, the other gripping the edge of the folding chair. Wes has the bat in both hands. "Change of plans," I say. "We go now." And I handle the narcotics problem on the way out. I lay it out fast. Jolene and Wes go through the ceiling to the immunization clinic. One push opens the clinic door. Through the service corridor, out the back, 3 blocks north to the school. They don't wait for me. They don't stop. "What are you going to do?" Jolene asks. "I'm going to make sure nobody wants what's in this building." She stares at me for 2 seconds. Then she nods. She takes the prenatal vitamins from the shelf and puts them in her jacket pocket. Wes picks up the bat. I hand Jolene a bottle of water and a bag of peanuts. The ceiling route to the clinic is 50 feet. Stay on the T-bars, keep your weight spread, and don't step on the tiles. The clinic door is already forced. Push it, go through the service corridor, exit to the back lot, turn left, follow the fence line to Hamilton Road. The school is on the right. Jolene climbs up first. I help her onto the brackets, and she starts crawling, slow and careful, distributing her weight the way I showed her. Wes goes next, the bat tucked under one arm. I watch them move through the ceiling space, mirror by mirror, until they reach the clinic. Jolene pushes the door. It opens. They drop down. I see them cross the clinic through the last mirror angle, and then they're through the service corridor door and gone. I turn back to the store. Through the mirrors, I can see Garth's crew in the pharmacy. Dex is setting up a battery-powered angle grinder on the floor next to the narcotics safe. Reggie is standing at the entrance with a shotgun. 2 others are loading more supplies from the aisles. Garth is standing behind the pharmacy counter, arms crossed, watching Dex work. 5 of them in the store, plus the driver outside. The infected have scattered. I can hear them moaning from different aisles, pushed around by the noise and movement. The scavengers are ignoring them, stepping around them. They've learned that the infected are slow, and as long as you don't let one grab you, they're just obstacles. Good. They're not afraid. That means they're not careful. I move fast. I've had 12 hours to think about this, and I've had 6 days to learn this building. Every door, every shelf, every system. This is my store. First, the fire doors. The building has 3 sets of automatic fire doors. One between the sales floor and the stockroom, one between the pharmacy wing and the main aisles. and one at the entrance between the lobby and the sales floor. They're held open by electromagnetic latches, powered by the fire alarm system. When the alarm triggers, the magnets release, and the doors swing shut on hydraulic closers. They're heavy steel core doors. Once shut, they create sealed compartments. The fire alarm pull station is in the back hallway, next to the break room. One pull, and every fire door in the building closes. Second, the aerosol. I have 2 cans of spray-on cooking fuel and 3 cans of compressed keyboard cleaner. All 5 cans are pressurized propellant. I duct tape them to the bottom shelf of the pharmacy end cap, the one closest to the narcotics safe. The nozzles face outward toward the sales floor. I tape the triggers down with folded strips of cardboard wedged against the shelf bracket, held in place by a loop of nylon cord. One pull on the cord, all 5 triggers release, and a cloud of propellant fills the area. Third, the ignition. The flare lighter goes on the floor behind the pharmacy counter, positioned to face the end cap. The road flares go in my pocket. I do all of this through the ceiling. I'm above them the entire time, working through gaps in the tile grid, reaching down to place cans and tape. The angle grinder whines against the safe bolts below me. Sparks bounce off the tile. Nobody looks up. They're focused on the safe. Garth is pacing behind the counter, checking the front entrance every 30 seconds. One of his crew, a heavy-set man in a hunting vest, is restacking boxes near the checkout lanes, building a barricade. They're settling in. They think this place is theirs now. Dex pulls the grinder back and checks the first bolt. Through, he calls out. Starting the second. This one's thicker. Garth walks over and crouches next to the safe. What's the estimate? 20 minutes, maybe 30. These bolts are grade 8. I have 30 minutes to finish. I tape the last can to the shelf bracket, thread the nylon cord through the pegboard, and crawl back toward the hallway. My forearms are scratched from the bracket edges. My shirt is soaked through with sweat. The ceiling space is at least 30 degrees warmer than the store floor, and I've been up here for almost 40 minutes. When everything is set, I crawl back to the hallway above the fire alarm pull station. I pop the ceiling tile, lower myself to the floor, and stand in front of the red handle. From here, I can see down the hallway to the pharmacy wing fire door, which is propped open by its magnetic latch. Past it, I can see the edge of the pharmacy counter. I can hear Garth talking to Dex. Almost through the first bolt, Dex says, 2 more. Hurry up, Garth says. I don't want to spend all day in this place. I pull the fire alarm. The alarm is deafening. A pulsing electronic shriek that fills every inch of the building. The electromagnetic latches release. 3 sets of fire doors slam shut simultaneously. The one between me and the pharmacy swings closed with a heavy final thud. The one between the sales floor and the stockroom does the same. The entrance fire door drops between the lobby and the sales floor, cutting off Reggie from the rest of the crew. The timing is precise. 6 days of listening to this building taught me where every door is, how fast they close, and what they seal when they shut. Garth and his crew are now locked inside a compartment that contains the pharmacy wing and about 40 feet of adjacent aisle space. They have the narcotics safe. They have the angle grinder. They have 3 or 4 infected shuffling around in there with them. And they have 5 cans of pressurized propellant duct taped to a shelf 3 feet from where they're standing. Inside the pharmacy wing, behind the closed fire door, I hear shouting. Garth, Dex, the others. They're sealed in with the pharmacy, the narcotics safe, and 5 cans of pressurized aerosol propellant duct taped to the shelf. I don't pull the nylon cord. I don't light the flare. I wait. The shouting gets louder. Someone hits the fire door from the other side. It doesn't open. Fire doors in commercial buildings are one way during an alarm event. They close, they latch, and they don't reopen until the system is manually reset from the alarm panel, which is in the utility room behind the stockroom. Get us out of here. Garth is pounding on the door. The infected in the pharmacy wing are moaning. The alarm is blaring. Everything is noise. I stand in the hallway and I wait 30 seconds. Then I yell through the door. There's a rear exit through the immunization clinic. Service corridor, back parking lot. Go through it. Leave the safe. Leave the building. I've rigged the pharmacy with propellant. and I will light it if you're still here in 2 minutes. Silence from the other side. Then Garth's voice, low and hard. You're bluffing. I crack a road flare. It hisses to life, red and bright, and I shove it under the gap at the bottom of the fire door. It rolls 2 feet across the pharmacy tile, sparking and smoking. On the other side, I hear Garth say one word, a word I'm not going to repeat. Then footsteps, running, away from the fire door, toward the clinic. I hear the clinic door bang open, boots in the service corridor. The back door slams. They're out. They're running for the truck. I wait 2 full minutes. No sounds from the pharmacy wing, except the alarm and the moaning of the infected. Through the gaps in the fire door, I can see the road flare guttering on the tile. No people, now the narcotics. I walk to the utility room behind the stockroom, reset the fire alarm, and wait for the fire doors to release. They click open, one by one. I walk back to the pharmacy. The safe is still standing. The angle grinder is on the floor. 1 bolt is cut through, 2 remain. I don't need to cut them. I have the pharmacy safe combination. I've had it since my first week as lead pharmacist. I open the safe, pull out the narcotics bins, oxycodone, hydrocodone, fentanyl patches, morphine sulfate, all of it, and carry them to the staff bathroom. I dump every single pill, patch, and vial into the toilet. 3 flushes. The oxycodone goes first, then the hydrocodone, then the fentanyl patches, then the morphine sulfate vials. Each flush takes 30 seconds to cycle, and during each cycle, I stand at the bathroom door and listen. The store is chaos. The alarm scrambled every infected in the building, and they're wandering into walls, moaning in overlapping waves, circling the aisles without direction. None of them come to the bathroom. Then I pour isopropyl alcohol over the empty bins and throw them in the dumpster behind the loading dock. The narcotics are gone. There's nothing left in this building worth risking a life for. I pull the aerosol cans off the shelf bracket and stuff them in a trash bag. I retrieve the road flare from the pharmacy floor. It's burned down to a stub, still warm. I pick up the nylon cord, the duct tape, every piece of my setup. No evidence. No tools left behind for the next person who comes through. Whatever Garth tells his people about this place, there'll be nothing here to confirm or deny it. I walk back through the store one last time. The infected are scattered, confused by the alarm. They bump into shelves and moan. The grey man from day one is standing near the broken entrance, swaying. Officer Beckham is by the checkout lanes, his uniform stained, his face slack. The store employee with the sideways name tag is in aisle 9, right where the woman in the green coat fell. I don't look at them any longer than I have to. I walk through the break room, down the back hallway, through the forced clinic door, through the service corridor, and out the back. The air outside is cold and clean, and it hits me so hard I have to stand still for 10 seconds. I've been inside that building for 7 days. 7 days of recycled air, concrete walls, fluorescent lights, and the constant sound of things that used to be people dragging their feet across tile. Out here, there's wind, there's sky. The sun is low and the shadows are long, and the parking lot behind the pharmacy is empty, except for a delivery truck with flat tires and a shopping cart on its side. I stand there and look at the sky. It's pale blue with thin clouds streaking east. A bird crosses overhead, moving fast, and I watch it until it disappears. I can smell asphalt and grass, and something faintly chemical from the industrial park across the road. Normal smells, outdoor smells. My eyes water from the brightness after a week of fluorescent tubes and pen light. I turn left and follow the fence line, just like I told Jolene. Hamilton Road is quiet. No cars, no people. A few windows in the houses across the street are boarded up. One has a bedsheet hanging from the second floor with words painted on it in black. Alive inside, need food. I don't stop. Another house has its front door standing wide open, and I can see a dark stain on the porch steps. I keep walking. 2 blocks in, I pass a gas station. The pumps are off. The convenience store windows are smashed. A car is parked at pump 3, with the nozzle still in the tank and the driver door open. Nobody inside. On the sidewalk next to the air pump, there's a child's shoe, Just one. I don't look at it long. The school is 3 blocks north. I can see the brick building from the road. The main entrance has been barricaded with tables and chairs stacked behind the glass doors. But the side entrance, near the gymnasium, is open. I walk around the building and find Jolene sitting on the steps with a bottle of water. Wes is standing next to her, the bat resting on his shoulder, watching the street. Jolene sees me and stands up. "We heard the alarm from here. What happened? The scavengers are gone. The narcotics are gone. Nobody's going back to that pharmacy for anything." She looks at me for a long moment. Her hand is resting on her stomach, and I can see the outline of the prenatal vitamin bottle in her jacket pocket. "You didn't have to do that. You could have just left with us." "I know. Why didn't you?" I think about it. 7 days ago, I locked myself in a closet because I didn't want to deal with what was on the other side. I let a woman get attacked without moving. I listened to a police officer bleed out and did nothing. I hid behind concrete and procedure and told myself that waiting was the same as choosing. It wasn't. Waiting was just a way to avoid being responsible for the outcome, because leaving the problem for someone else is the same thing that put us here, I say. Somebody at that church didn't tell people he was bitten. Somebody at the station didn't seal the doors in time. Every bad choice rolls downhill. I didn't want to add to the pile. Wes lowers the bat. So what now? I look at the school. I look at the street. I look at the sky, which is turning orange at the edges as the sun drops. Now we go inside, check every room, barricade what needs barricading, and figure out how long we can stay. And after that? Jolene asks. After that, we figure out the next place, and the one after that. That's how it works now. You don't get to sit behind locked shelves and wait for someone to tell you it's over. You move, you plan, you solve the next problem, and you keep going. I pick up my bag. I walk past Jolene and Wes and up the steps to the gymnasium entrance. The door is heavy, metal, institutional. I push it open and look inside. Dark hallway, linoleum floor. The smell of old gym mats and chalk dust. No moaning, no shuffling, just quiet. I step inside. Jolene follows. Wes follows her. The door closes behind us with a click, and for the first time in 7 days, I'm somewhere new, somewhere I chose to be. Not locked in, not sealed behind, not hiding, moving forward. That's the only direction left.